It's almost midnight. You're walking home. The city finally quiet after a long day at work. Your phone buzzes in your pocket. You pull it out, expecting a message from a friend, maybe a late-night meme. But the screen glows with just 3 words, "I see you." Timestamp 11:47 p.m. This is exactly what happened to Samantha. At first, she just laughed it off. It had to be a prank, right? Probably one of her coworkers from the late shift trying to give her a little scare. She texted back, "Haha, very funny. You got me." But the reply that came back wasn't funny at all. It was specific, too specific. "Turn left. Don't look behind." Her stomach did a little flip. She froze on the sidewalk. How could they know that? She was at the corner of Oak and 12th, and her usual shortcut was, in fact, a left turn. She hadn't told anyone she was taking this route. She always mixed it up. A cold knot of dread began to form in her gut. She ignored the message, her heart starting to beat a little faster, and kept walking straight. A few seconds later, another buzz. I said, "Turn left." Okay, this was not a joke anymore. Her hand started to tremble slightly as she clutched her phone. The familiar, comforting streets of her neighborhood suddenly felt alien, menacing. The long shadows cast by the streetlights seemed to stretch and twist, like grasping fingers reaching out for her. Every creak of a distant gate, every rustle of leaves in the wind sounded like a footstep. Her phone buzzed again, and the message made her blood run cold. "You're almost there, hurry." It was like they were a narrator to her own personal horror movie, urging her toward a finale she didn't want to see. She risked a quick glance over her shoulder. Nothing, just an empty, silent street. But the feeling, that feeling was undeniable. It was a heavy, suffocating pressure on her back, the distinct sensation of being watched. Her breathing became shallow, her lungs tight. She could hear the frantic drumming of her own heart in her ears. Desperate to get home, she started walking faster, her sensible work shoes now feeling like lead weights. And then she made a mistake. In her haste, guided by the chilling texts, she turned into a narrow alley she'd never even noticed before. It was a dark, claustrophobic passage between 2 old brick buildings. The walls were a chaotic mural of faded graffiti, and the air was thick with the damp, musty smell of decay and stagnant water. And that's when she heard it. A soft, rhythmic sound echoing off the brick walls, footsteps, and they were perfectly in sync with her own.
Step, step.
Step, step. She stopped. The echo stopped. She took a quick step forward. So did the echo. It wasn't an echo. Someone was in the alley with her, matching her every move. Pure primal panic took over. Samantha bolted. She didn't look back, didn't think, just ran. She sprinted out of the alley, weaving through the labyrinth of side streets, her lungs burning. She ran blindly, guided only by the instinct to get away, to get home, to get somewhere safe. Finally, she saw it. The familiar entrance to her apartment building. It was a beacon of light in the terrifying darkness. She stumbled up the steps, her hands shaking so violently she could barely get the key into the lock. The click of the deadbolt sliding open was the most beautiful sound she'd ever heard. She slammed the door behind her, locking it, bolting it, and leaning against it, gasping for air. She was safe, trembling but safe. She slid down to the floor, her body weak with relief. The ordeal was over, she had made it. And then her phone buzzed one last time. She looked at the screen, her vision blurry with tears of relief. The message was just a single sentence. And with that one sentence, her sanctuary, her safe haven, was shattered into a million pieces. "I was never behind you. I've been inside your apartment all along." She froze. The air left her lungs in a silent scream. Every hair on her body stood on end. The creak of a floorboard from the other room wasn't just the old building settling. The soft click she'd heard wasn't the refrigerator. The real terror wasn't the stalker in the alley. It was the predator who had already been invited in. She wasn't running to safety. She had just locked herself in with the monster.